Well, I mean, I am extremely concerned. Again, I was trying to outline a 10-point action plan.
For years, the secret remained locked away, hidden in the shadows of the royal family's tightly guarded walls. A secret so powerful, it could change everything. King Charles, a monarch with a life shaped by public expectation, carried a truth that few could ever fathom. Beneath the crown and the grandeur, there was a bond that he was forced to keep in the dark. His son, a child whose very existence threatened to unravel the delicate fabric of royalty. But why? What drove a king to hide his own flesh and blood? The story behind this secret is one of love, sacrifice, and the unimaginable choices that come with wearing a crown. This is the untold truth of why King Charles had to keep his son a secret. Who is the son? The story of King Charles and his alleged secret son is one shrouded in mystery. Many have wondered, who is this child that was kept hidden from the public for so long? Well, the details around this secret son remain unclear and largely speculative, with a mix of rumors and half-truths that have spread over the years. However, one of the most prominent claims is that the child is from an affair that King Charles had during the 1980s. Some reports suggest that the child was born out of an affair King Charles had with a woman who was not Princess Diana or Camilla Parker Bowles. Yet, despite the rumors, there has never been any official confirmation of the son's identity. What we do know is that this child was allegedly kept away from the public eye, and any trace of him was wiped from the royal family's official history. While the exact details about the son are hard to pin down, speculation has linked the child to King Charles's earlier years when he was already married to Diana, or even earlier when his relationship with Camilla was less public. For some, the idea of a secret son is not entirely shocking, given the royal family's long history of maintaining a certain image and protecting their personal lives from public scrutiny. But why would a member of the royal family, particularly someone as high profile as King Charles, choose to keep a child in the shadows? What could possibly be the reason for such secrecy? Why was he kept a secret? The question of why this son was kept a secret is both complex and, in many ways, heartbreaking. King Charles, like all members of the royal family, was bound by the unspoken rules of monarchy, where image and reputation are everything. The royal family's primary concern is maintaining an image of perfection. Royal protocol dictates that every action, every word, and even every relationship be carefully controlled to ensure there is no scandal. A royal scandal, especially one involving an illegitimate child, could threaten the very foundation of the monarchy. For Charles, revealing the existence of a son born out of an affair could have been disastrous. It would have brought intense media scrutiny, undermined his already strained relationship with Princess Diana, and sparked public outrage. The British monarchy is an institution built on tradition, and any deviation from that tradition is viewed as a threat. A secret child could have complicated the line of succession and the delicate balance of power within the royal family. Beyond the public image, there was also the issue of security. Royals live under constant threat, and a child, especially one with a questionable background, could have been vulnerable. In a world where the media would go to extreme lengths to dig into personal matters, exposing the son's existence could have endangered both him and his family. So, keeping the child a secret seemed to be the only logical option for King Charles and the royal family. It allowed them to shield themselves from the harsh glare of the media and protect their public persona at all costs. The story of concealment. But how did King Charles go about hiding this son? The royal family is known for its ability to keep secrets, and this one was no exception. The story of concealment is as much about strategy as it is about secrecy. First, it's important to understand that royal lives are not like ordinary lives. Members of the royal family have access to vast resources, including personal security teams and staff who are sworn to secrecy. The child's birth, if indeed it happened, was likely kept under tight wraps. He could have been raised far away from the public eye, perhaps in another country or under the guise of a distant relative. What is even more fascinating is the fact that King Charles could have continued his life as though nothing had happened. His public appearances, interviews, and royal duties were all unaffected. The child was likely kept hidden from the media, and any records relating to his existence were sealed. Perhaps even those closest to King Charles and the royal family never knew about this secret. Despite the level of secrecy, the question remains, why take such measures? King Charles had to know that the truth would eventually come out. The high, longer the secret remained hidden, the more difficult it would be to keep it under wraps. But for him, the cost of revealing the truth may have been far greater than the cost of concealment. Reasons behind the secret. The royal family's reputation is everything. They are not just public figures. They represent an institution that has stood for centuries. Every member of the family is expected to act with the utmost decorum and to maintain a flawless image at all times. A scandal involving an illegitimate child would have been catastrophic, especially at a time when the royal family was already under intense public scrutiny. The monarchy's ability to remain in power is directly tied to how it is perceived by the public. Any scandal, no matter how small, could shake public confidence in the royal family. And for King Charles, who had already faced significant challenges in his personal life, this secret son could have been the tipping point. An affair, a secret child, and the potential for a broken marriage all painted a picture that the royal family could not afford to make public. The monarchy was going through enough turmoil with the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage, and the idea of a hidden child would have been too much to bear. The political consequences of revealing such a secret would have been immense. As the heir to the British throne, King Charles' actions could have directly affected the monarchy's future. A secret child could have complicated the line of succession, especially if there were doubts about the child's legitimacy or place in the royal family. If the secret son were to be revealed and accepted into the royal fold, it could have created a conflict with other heirs. Would the child have had a claim to the throne? Would there have been a struggle for power within the royal family? These are questions that would have undermined the stability of the monarchy and could have had serious constitutional ramifications. At the time, the royal family needed unity, not division. Exposing such a secret could have jeopardized that unity, threatening the stability of the monarchy for generations. King Charles's personal life was far from straightforward. His marriage to Princess Diana was fraught with tension, and his affair with Camilla Parker Bowles was widely known and discussed by the media. But even beyond these well-documented issues, there were personal feelings at play. King Charles's decision to keep the son a secret may have been influenced by a desire to protect his family, and particularly his children. Revealing the existence of another child, especially one from a relationship outside of his marriage to Diana, would have caused further strain between him and his children, William and Harry. There was also the matter of his own emotional state. Charles was under enormous pressure, both from his public duties and from his personal life. Keeping this secret might have been an effort to maintain some semblance of control in a life that felt increasingly out of his hands. The hidden child's life and impact. The life of the secret son, assuming he existed, would have been one of extreme secrecy. Raised away from the public eye, he would have likely been kept away from the royal spotlight entirely. While there are no confirmed details about his upbringing, it's possible that he was given a private education, shielded from the intense media attention that the royal family often faces. His life would have been vastly different from that of his half-siblings, William and Harry. Unlike them, he would have been kept hidden, with no public appearances or official titles. It's even possible that he grew up unaware of his true parentage, given the strict measures the royal family would have taken to keep the secret. Being kept a secret would have undoubtedly taken a toll on the child, especially as he grew older. The knowledge that his existence was concealed from the world could have led to feelings of isolation and confusion. Would he have ever learned the truth about his father? And how would that knowledge have shaped his relationship with King Charles, his family, and even the British public? The emotional strain of living in secrecy cannot be underestimated. For a child who was denied the opportunity to know his father fully, the psychological impact could have been profound. How did the child cope with growing up without public recognition or connection to the royal family? The royal family is known for its strong public image, but behind the scenes, their relationships are not always as perfect as they appear. Keeping such a secret could have strained the dynamics within the family. King Charles's relationships with his children, William and Harry, would have likely been affected by the knowledge of a secret child. How did they feel about the secrecy? And what did it mean for their relationship with their father? These are questions that remain unanswered, but the impact on the family's closeness and trust would have been undeniable. If you found this story fascinating, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hidden truths and untold stories. There's always more to discover.
I love my father, I love my brother, I love my family. I will always do. Nothing of what I've done in this book or otherwise has ever been any intention to harm them.
For years, Prince Harry has been a part of some of the biggest royal stories. But there's one part of his life that he kept hidden away, until now. Prince Harry has just shared why he had to keep his sister a secret, and the reason behind it is shocking. What's even more surprising is how this secret was kept for so long, despite all the cameras and attention on his family. People always wondered about Harry's relationship with his family, but no one could have guessed this hidden truth. It's a story that reveals just how complicated life can be inside the royal world, and how sometimes, even the smallest things can become huge secrets. What happened that made Prince Harry feel like he had no choice but to keep his sister out of the public eye? What does this mean for everything we thought we knew about him and the royal family? The answers are finally here, and they could change everything. The secret sister Prince Harry has always been a figure who has caught the attention of the world. From his royal duties to his departure from the royal family, every part of his life seems to make headlines. But recently, a surprising claim has come to light. The revelation of a secret sister. This is not just another royal gossip or media rumor. This is something that has raised eyebrows, with some even questioning why Prince Harry kept this part of his life hidden for so long. The claim about Prince Harry's secret sister became public knowledge in the weeks leading up to the release of Harry's memoir, Spare. As the memoir gave readers an inside look into his life, many were shocked to hear about this hidden family member. The details of her identity were still unclear for some time, with some speculating about who she might be. Was she a child from a past relationship? Was she someone born into the royal family, but kept out of the public eye? The mystery surrounding this sister stirred up media frenzy, leaving many wondering what the real story was. Different media outlets quickly jumped on the story, each offering their take. Some reported that Prince Harry had a sister, born from a different relationship, while others hinted at the possibility of an adopted sibling. However, the name and full background of this sister have yet to be fully revealed. While some royal insiders claim to know more, it remains largely speculative. What we do know is that Harry's sister is a part of his life that he's kept hidden from the public for reasons that seem to go beyond mere privacy. Family dynamics. Where does she fit in the royal family? Now you might wonder, why keep a sister a secret? How does this secret sibling fit into the royal family's complicated structure? In the grand scheme of things, the British royal family is one of the most famous families in the world. Every member of the royal family plays a role, whether it's attending official events, charity work, or even handling their public image. A secret sibling could cause an unexpected ripple in the carefully orchestrated royal family dynamics. Imagine being part of a family where every little detail about your life is scrutinized. Now add to that a sibling who has never been publicly acknowledged. How would this unknown family member fit into the picture? Would they have their own role, or would they complicate things even further? These are the kinds of questions that might have weighed on Harry's mind as he made the decision to keep his sister a secret. One possibility could be that she simply didn't fit into the image the royal family wanted to project. Royals are often expected to have picture-perfect lives, with no room for messy or complicated situations. If this secret sister's background didn't match the royal family's carefully crafted narrative, it could have been easier for Harry to keep her hidden. Why keep her a secret? Royal family secrets and scandals. For centuries, the royal family has been known for keeping secrets. Some of these secrets are small, while others are more explosive. Take Princess Margaret's love life, for example. For years, it was kept a secret that she had a romantic relationship with a man named Peter Townsend, a man who was not acceptable in royal circles due to his divorce. This relationship was kept under wraps, and it caused quite a stir when it was eventually revealed to the public. Another example is King Edward VIII, who abdicated the throne to marry Wallis Simpson, an American divorcee. This decision shocked the royal family and the public, and led to a significant shift in royal history. These examples show that the royal family has a long history of keeping scandals and personal matters hidden from the world. Prince Harry is no stranger to this either. As someone who has dealt with intense media scrutiny throughout his life, it's possible that he felt it was better to keep his sister hidden from the public. The last thing Harry would want is to add another layer of drama to an already complex family situation. After all, his life has already been filled with media chaos and family tension, so it makes sense that he would want to protect his sister from the same spotlight. Personal reasons for secrecy. But there's more to it than just controlling the media narrative. Prince Harry's own personal motivations could have played a huge role in his decision to keep his sister a secret. Harry has always had a complicated relationship with the royal family, and revealing a secret sibling could have caused even more tension. After all, his relationship with other family members, especially his brother Prince William, has been strained at times. Adding another secret to the mix might have made things more difficult. On top of that, Harry has always had a deep sense of responsibility towards his family. He's been very open about his struggles with mental health, particularly after the death of his mother, Princess Diana. Having a hidden sibling could have added another layer of emotional complexity to an already difficult situation. Perhaps Harry didn't want to burden himself, or his sister, with the emotional weight of revealing a family secret that might not have been well received by the public. Harry's struggles with mental health. It's well known that Prince Harry has struggled with mental health issues over the years. His grief over losing his mother at such a young age has been well documented. It's also clear that the pressure of living in the public eye, especially as a royal, has taken its toll on him. The media has often been unkind, and it's no secret that Harry has had a rocky relationship with the press. The idea of keeping a secret sibling hidden from the world could have been part of his way of coping with this intense pressure. Harry has spoken openly about how his family's expectations and public scrutiny have affected his mental health. In his memoir, Spare, he discusses how he struggled with feelings of inadequacy and how he used various coping mechanisms to deal with the stress. Having a secret sibling, who could potentially be the subject of more media attacks, would only have added to this emotional burden. Impact on family relationships. Keeping a secret like this would have undoubtedly affected Harry's relationships within the royal family. His brother, Prince William, has often been seen as the more traditional, reserved member of the royal family, while Harry has taken a more unconventional route. If the secret sister were to have been revealed, it might have complicated things further, adding yet another layer of complexity to the royal family's already fraught relationships. Harry's relationship with his father, King Charles III, could have also been impacted. The royal family as a whole tends to maintain a strict public image. Any deviation from that image can lead to conflict or tension. Keeping a secret sibling could have been a way for Harry to protect his family, but it could have also made things more difficult on a personal level. Whether or not his family knew about the sister, revealing her to the world would have been a significant move. It's also worth considering how Harry's marriage to Meghan Markle fits into this story. Meghan has been vocal about her desire for privacy and the challenges of living under the public microscope. It's possible that Harry's decision to keep his sister hidden was part of their shared desire for privacy and a life away from the media circus. After all, revealing yet another family secret would only bring more attention to their already high-profile lives. Will the sister ever be revealed? So, what happens next? Will Prince Harry ever fully reveal the truth about his secret sister? Or will she remain a shadow in his life? The mystery surrounding this sibling has sparked countless theories, but the truth may never come to light. Prince Harry has always been careful about what he shares with the public, and it's likely that he will continue to protect his family's privacy in the future. If the sister were to be revealed, it would likely come with significant consequences, both personally and professionally. The media would undoubtedly make her the center of attention, and she could face intense scrutiny. Whether or not Harry chooses to reveal her identity may depend on how much he feels he can protect her from the media's harsh spotlight. Harry's path forward. Looking ahead, Harry seems to be focused on his future. He's dedicated himself to charity work, mental health advocacy, and building a new life outside the royal family. The revelation of a secret sister, while significant, may not be a major part of his future. It's possible that he will continue to keep his family's secrets private as he moves forward with his own path. As Harry continues to step further away from the royal spotlight, the public's perception of him will evolve. Whether or not his secret sister is ever revealed, the growing distance between Harry and the royal family will continue to shape his narrative. It's clear that Harry is focused on building a life that aligns with his values, and whether or not his sister plays a role in that future remains to be seen. The mystery of Prince Harry's secret sister may remain just that, a mystery. But whatever the truth is, it's likely that Harry will continue to prioritize his family's well-being and privacy over everything else. The truth behind Prince Harry's secret is out, and it's clear that life in the royal family is even more complicated than we ever imagined. But what does this revelation mean for the future of the monarchy? The story doesn't end here. There's still so much to uncover. If you want to stay up to date with more shocking royal revelations, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss a single update. Thanks for watching.
Tuesday marks 20 years since Princess Diana was killed in a car crash inside a Paris tunnel.
Proof that she was in the car, proof that she was injured, and proof that the very paparazzi that chased her into the tunnel were the ones that were taking photographs of her lying.
The royal family is known for being calm and collected, but behind the palace walls, something big just happened. Prince William, who is usually so quiet and controlled, lost his temper in a way no one expected. He was angry, and the reason for his outburst was shocking. It all started with something about his mother, Princess Diana, that he never thought he'd hear again. A surprising new connection has come out, something that ties Queen Camilla to the sad and tragic death of Princess Diana. This new information is more than just a rumor. It's something real, something hard to ignore. When Prince William found out, his emotions got the best of him. It was a mix of anger, sadness, and confusion. All the pain from the past came rushing back, and in that moment, it was like a storm of feelings hit him. The royal family, known for their grace and calm, was caught in the middle of this emotional storm. What happened next left everyone shaken and wondering just how deep the hidden stories of the royal family really go. The rumored confrontation, what we're hearing. Behind the grand doors of the royal palace, a storm may have erupted. Whispers from insiders suggest that Prince William finally lost his cool, and the person he reportedly confronted was none other than Queen Camilla. Now, while these are just rumors, they're coming from sources close to the royal inner circle. And if even half of what's being said is true, it marks a turning point in the relationship between the future king and his stepmother. It was supposed to be a private family meeting, nothing official, no press, just a gathering of senior royals to discuss ongoing matters. But somewhere in that quiet setting, emotions boiled over. Prince William, who is normally calm and respectful, reportedly raised his voice. Something royal aides say almost never happens. Some say his voice echoed through the halls. Others say they've never seen him so angry. What sparked it? According to these reports, William accused Camilla of playing a direct role in his mother's pain. He supposedly said he had proof, not proof of any crime, but proof that Camilla used psychological tactics to isolate Princess Diana. He claimed she manipulated people around her, encouraged Charles to pull away from Diana emotionally, and helped paint Diana as unstable. The confrontation was said to be so heated that royal staff had to step in. Some even say Prince Charles arrived during the outburst and tried to calm things down, but William was too upset to listen. It's important to note, this isn't about accusing Camilla of causing Diana's death in the car crash. That tragedy was the result of many factors, including media pressure, a high-speed chase, and a lack of proper security. But what William was reportedly pointing to was something more emotional, more psychological. He believes that Camilla helped break his mother down long before that crash ever happened. And that's a weight he seems to have carried his entire life. The direct link theory, Camilla's alleged influence. To understand why Prince William might be feeling this way, we have to go back to the beginning, back to the complicated triangle that haunted his childhood. Princess Diana was just 20 years old when she married Prince Charles. She was young, beautiful, and full of hope. But even before the wedding, Camilla was in the picture. Charles and Camilla had a history, a deep emotional connection that never fully went away, even during his marriage to Diana. Diana herself once said in a now famous interview, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Camilla wasn't just a background figure. She was present in Charles's life, in his thoughts, and possibly in his decisions. That presence, over time, wore down Diana. Some royal watchers and biographers now believe that Camilla did more than just remain close to Charles. She allegedly influenced how he treated Diana. There are claims that Camilla encouraged Charles to step back emotionally, that she urged him to assert control in public, pushing Diana into a corner when it came to media attention. Diana, once adored by the public, began to be portrayed by some newspapers as unstable or emotional. Some insiders believe this wasn't just natural media evolution. They suspect that people around Charles, possibly including Camilla, played a role in shaping that narrative. Even more troubling are the rumors that Camilla used her connections inside the palace to make Diana's life harder. That she worked with loyal staff to control Diana's access to certain meetings, events, and even private family time. It's all speculation, yes, but it paints a picture, a painful one. There have also been quiet mentions of unpublished letters in private journals. In them, Diana reportedly spoke about feeling surrounded and watched. She believed someone within the palace was trying to undermine her at every step. In her iconic Panorama interview with Martin Bashir, Diana didn't name names, but she did say she felt there were dark forces working against her. People who didn't want her to succeed, people who wanted her gone. Could Camilla have been one of them? That's the theory William is said to be considering. Or maybe it's something he's believed for a long time, and only now feels ready to confront. Prince William's mental and emotional breaking point. Prince William has always been seen as the steady royal. He rarely complains, never shares personal feelings with the public, and holds tightly to the royal code of silence. But no one can carry grief forever. And William has been carrying his for more than 2 decades. He was only 15 years old when his mother died. That kind of loss changes a person. It shapes how you see the world, and the people in it. Over the years, William has made public tributes to his mother. He's spoken about her warmth, her love, and how much he wishes she had been there to see his children grow. But what he doesn't say, others now are saying for him. Sources close to the royal family believe William never fully forgave Camilla. He played the part. He smiled when cameras were on. He supported her marriage to Charles in public. But deep down, they say, there was always anger. And recently, that anger may have grown stronger. Several things may have triggered William's emotional breaking point. One of them is the Netflix show The Crown, which dramatized his mother's pain all over again. Watching her heartbreak unfold, watching his father's coldness, and seeing Camilla's constant presence must have been devastating. Then there's the constant media spotlight on Diana's legacy. Every anniversary of her death, every new documentary or book brings back painful memories. Even when well-meaning, they open wounds. There's also the growing feeling among some in the public that the palace has moved on. That Camilla has been fully accepted. That the world has forgiven and forgotten. But William hasn't forgotten. And according to a recent leak, he may have reached his limit during a private family event. Sources say he walked out of a meeting visibly upset. One person said he described the palace as full of lies. Another claimed he slammed his hand on the table and stormed off, refusing to sit next to Camilla. It may not have been one single thing that triggered William's outburst, but rather everything. The pain, the memories, the feeling that the woman who caused his mother so much hurt now wears the crown. That's a heavy burden for any son to carry. Royal family dynamics, the quiet tensions that never left for years. People assumed William and Camilla had a polite relationship, that they had made peace. But if the rumors are true, that peace was only on the surface. Insiders say William has never been truly close to Camilla. He's respectful, always. But warm, affectionate? Never. In contrast, Prince Harry has been vocal. He's openly criticized the royal family. And while he said less about Camilla directly, the tension is clear. William, on the other hand, has stayed quiet. But now, people are starting to realize that his silence might have been hiding something even deeper. Resentment, pain, a feeling of betrayal. This puts Charles in an impossible position. He loves his wife, he's made her queen, but his son, his heir, may not accept her fully. And worse, he may blame her for the one thing Charles wishes he could undo: Diana's heartbreak. The relationship between father and son may already be strained. If William truly believes Camilla helped destroy his mother's happiness, it's not hard to imagine the distance between him and Charles growing even wider. To make things more difficult, Camilla's role in the monarchy has never been stronger. She stands beside Charles at every event. She wears the crown. She's introduced as queen, not queen consort, but queen. That title alone could be a trigger for William. The very idea that the woman who once threatened his mother's place in the family now sits at the heart of the royal institution. It's a lot to take in. And if recent events are any clue, William may no longer be willing to stay silent about it. This shocking story has turned everything we thought we knew about the royal family upside down. It's a reminder that even the most powerful people have hidden struggles and deep emotions they're dealing with. Prince William's reaction shows just how painful the past can be, no matter how much time has passed. If this story caught your attention, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to stay updated on more breaking news. And feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about this surprising twist in the royal family's history? Every comment helps keep the conversation going.
Prince Harry is addressing those rumors about his real father. For decades, there has been speculation that Princess Diana's former lover, James Hewitt, is the 38-year-old's dad, not King Charles III.
For decades, rumors have swirled around the British royal family regarding Prince Harry's paternity. The speculation, fueled by his red hair and physical differences from his brother William, became a persistent tabloid narrative that the palace firmly denied. Now, an explosive revelation has reportedly shattered the fragile peace between Harry and his royal relatives. What DNA discovery could possibly drive the already estranged prince to make a final, irrevocable break with his past? The truth is more stunning than even the most sensational tabloid dared to print. According to sources close to the situation, Harry received the test results during a video consultation with his physician. As the doctor began discussing a specific genetic marker, Harry reportedly stopped him mid-sentence, visibly shocked by information visible on his screen. The consultation ended abruptly, with Harry requesting all his results be sent to him immediately for private review. He ended the call and just sat in complete silence for nearly an hour, one insider claimed. Meghan found him still staring at the results when she returned from taking Archie to his playgroup. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. The genetic profile reportedly contained markers inconsistent with the Windsor genetic line, but remarkably similar to another well-known figure from Princess Diana's past, one whose relationship with Harry's mother had long been the subject of speculation. The James Hewitt question finally answered. For decades, the most persistent rumor about Harry's paternity centered on James Hewitt, the former cavalry officer with whom Princess Diana had a 5-year affair in the late 80s and early 90s. The timing of their relationship, combined with Harry's red hair, similar to Hewitt's, fueled endless speculation despite consistent denials from all parties. Hewitt himself had repeatedly stated that his relationship with Diana began in 1986, 2 years after Harry's birth in 1984, making it biologically impossible for him to be Harry's father. This timeline, confirmed by Diana's friends and royal biographers, seemed to definitively rule out Hewitt. But according to sources familiar with Harry's genetic test results, the truth appears far more complicated. The DNA markers reportedly indicate that Hewitt is indeed Harry's biological father, contradicting the long-held official timeline of when Diana and Hewitt's relationship began. This revelation suggests that Diana and Hewitt may have had a brief earlier relationship or encounter, preceding or coinciding with the early troubled years of her marriage to Charles. A possibility never before confirmed or even seriously considered by royal historians. The timing would have been during a period when Charles had resumed his relationship with Camilla and Diana was deeply unhappy, noted one royal biographer who requested anonymity. It's not implausible that Diana might have sought comfort elsewhere, though this earlier connection to Hewitt has never been documented. Harry's emotional reckoning. For Harry, the reported discovery has triggered a profound emotional crisis that goes beyond the question of his biological father. According to friends, this revelation has forced him to reevaluate his entire life story, including his relationship with the royal family and particularly with King Charles. Harry is processing the fact that people around him, potentially including Charles himself, may have known the truth all along, said one source close to the Sussexes. Every interaction, every cold shoulder, every perceived slight now looks different through this lens. Was he treated differently because they knew? Was the spare designation even more literal than he thought? The timing of this discovery has reportedly been especially painful given the contents of Harry's memoir, Spare, published in 2023. In the book, Harry wrote extensively about his complicated relationship with Charles, his feelings of being overlooked, and his desperate desire for his father's approval and affection. He poured his heart out about his relationship with a man who may have always known he wasn't his biological father, the source continued. That realization is devastating. Most poignant was Harry's reported reaction to photos of himself with Charles. According to those close to him, Harry spent hours reviewing old photographs, looking for genuine connection or signs of emotional distance that might have been invisible to him before. The final break. While Harry has maintained public silence about these revelations, his actions speak volumes about his response. Within weeks of reportedly receiving the test results, Harry is said to have consulted with constitutional lawyers about his technical status within the royal family, begun the process of legally changing his children's surnames from Mountbatten-Windsor to simply Sussex, instructed his foundation to remove all references to his royal heritage from their materials, returned private family heirlooms to Buckingham Palace via courier, including items received from Queen Elizabeth II. Most significantly, Harry reportedly sent a formal letter to the palace renouncing any remaining claims or connections to the royal family. While not technically a requirement, as he remains sixth in line to the throne regardless of biological parentage, having been born during Charles and Diana's marriage, this symbolic gesture represents his complete psychological break from his former life. "This isn't about legal status for Harry," explained one confidant. "It's about identity. He's making a clean break with an institution he now feels was built on lies, at least where he's concerned." Meghan and the children. Throughout this crisis, Meghan Markle has reportedly been Harry's steadfast supporter. According to friends, she viewed the news not as a scandal, but as a piece of clarity that explains much about how Harry was treated within the royal family. Meghan told Harry that DNA doesn't change who raised him or who his children's grandfather is, one source claimed. But she also supports his need to process this truth and make decisions based on it. She's giving him space to figure out what it means for him. For Archie and Lilibet, still too young to understand the complexity of the situation, the practical changes have been minimal. Sources indicate that Harry and Meghan have decided to delay any specific explanations until the children are older, focusing instead on creating stability amid the internal family turmoil. Harry has reportedly become even more protective of his children's privacy, implementing additional security measures around their home and activities. Friends suggest this stems from a fear that the children might become targets of media fixation if the paternity information becomes public. Harry's primary concern is protecting Archie and Lilibet from experiencing anything like what he went through, said one source. If anything, this has made him even more determined to build a life completely removed from royal scrutiny. James Hewitt's response. While Hewitt himself has maintained public silence, sources claiming to be familiar with his reaction describe him as stunned and conflicted. Though he had always denied being Harry's father, these sources suggest he may have privately wondered, given the timing of certain events. A former military colleague of Hewitt's told a British newspaper that Hewitt had occasionally made comments about Harry's military career that seemed unusually proud and specific. He followed Harry's service in Afghanistan with particular interest, the colleague noted. He collected news clippings about Harry's military achievements. We thought it was just because of the Diana connection, but perhaps there was more to it. What remains unclear is whether Hewitt would welcome a relationship with Harry at this stage. The two men have reportedly never had a significant conversation, despite moving in adjacent social circles during Harry's life in Britain. Any potential relationship would be complicated by Hewitt's past decisions to profit from his connection to Diana through tell-all interviews and books. James has carried this secret, or at least this question, for almost 40 years, said one longtime acquaintance. Whether he knew the truth or just suspected it, he's now facing the consequences of choices made decades ago. The path forward. For Harry, the path forward appears to be one of complete separation from his royal past. Friends say he is focusing intensely on his children and humanitarian work, finding purpose in building a legacy entirely his own. Harry told me he feels liberated in a way, one close friend revealed. The constant questions he had about why he never quite fit in, why he was treated differently, they finally have an answer. It's painful, but there's clarity in it. This clarity has reportedly led Harry to embrace his mother's legacy even more fully. Diana's humanitarian work, her empathy for outsiders, and her eventual break from royal constraints now serve as a template for Harry's own journey. Most poignant is Harry's reported new understanding of his mother's isolation. He told me he now understands on a much deeper level what his mother went through, said one confidant. The loneliness of carrying a truth that the institution wanted buried. He feels connected to her through that shared experience. The historical context. While unprecedented in modern times, questions of royal paternity have shaped European history for centuries. From Louis XIV to the Habsburgs, unofficial royal children and questions of legitimacy have altered the course of dynasties. What makes Harry's situation unique is the modern context. The combination of genetic testing, global media, and his pre-existing public separation from royal life. Never before has a royal figure of his prominence had both the scientific means to discover such a truth and the freedom to potentially acknowledge it publicly. Historians note that in previous eras, such questions would have remained permanently in the realm of rumor and speculation. The scientific certainty now possible creates an unprecedented situation for monarchy as an institution built on bloodline and inheritance. Throughout history, monarchies have survived wars, revolutions, and scandals, noted one historical scholar. But they've never before had to confront DNA testing and the absolute certainty it provides about biological relationships. This may ultimately prove more challenging to the concept of royal bloodlines than any political revolution. The ultimate question of identity. Beyond the constitutional implications and family drama lies the deeply personal journey of a man discovering his true identity midlife. For Harry, now in his early 40s, the reported revelation forces a fundamental reassessment of his life story. This isn't just about who his father is, explained one psychologist who specializes in identity issues but has no connection to Harry. It's about who he thought he was versus who he actually is. That kind of discovery forces you to re-examine every memory, every relationship, every assumption about yourself. Friends say Harry is approaching this reckoning with remarkable resilience, drawing on the personal growth he's achieved through therapy and his new life in America. Rather than being destroyed by this discovery, he appears to be integrating it into a new understanding of himself. Harry told me that he finally feels free to be fully himself, said one associate. Not a prince, not a duke, not a spare. Just Harry, son of Diana, father to his children, husband to Meghan. There's a profound simplicity to that identity that he finds peaceful. For a man whose life has been defined by titles, expectations, and public scrutiny, this final cutting of ties, prompted by the most personal of discoveries, may ultimately provide the clean break he has been seeking since stepping back from royal duties in 2020. In choosing to build his identity around the truth rather than inherited titles or institutional expectations, Harry appears to be following a path his mother might have recognized, choosing authenticity over tradition and personal truth over public expectation.
I think royal duty is extremely important. I think it's part of the fabric of what the royal family and any future monarch has, and it's something that is very important, and I take duty very seriously.
For years, the public has known Prince William as the responsible royal, the steady future king who follows protocol and maintains the dignity of the monarchy. In contrast to his younger brother Harry, who's made headlines with explosive interviews, a tell-all memoir, and his dramatic exit from royal duties, William has been the model heir, reliable, controlled, and scandal-free. But recent events have shattered that carefully crafted image, showing that perhaps the two brothers aren't so different after all. What DNA revelation has caused the future king to follow in his brother's controversial footsteps? The fallout has left the monarchy reeling in ways no one could have predicted. The scandal breaks. It began with what should have been a private medical procedure. In early 2025, Prince William agreed to participate in a research study at King's College London, examining genetic markers for male pattern baldness, a subject he'd often joked about publicly. The standard procedure required a simple DNA sample, which William provided without hesitation, signing routine confidentiality agreements. 3 weeks later, William's world imploded. Somehow, portions of his genetic profile were leaked to the British tabloid The Sun, which published a sensational front-page story, claiming the test had revealed stunning information about the future king's heritage that raises questions about the Windsor bloodline. While the initial report was frustratingly vague, it was enough to set off a firestorm of speculation. Palace officials immediately denied any impropriety, condemning the egregious breach of medical ethics and threatening legal action against both the newspaper and the research facility. But the damage was done. Within hours, the hashtag number sign, Royal DNASCANDAL, was trending worldwide, with rumors ranging from the plausible to the absurd. What happened next stunned even veteran royal watchers. Rather than maintain dignified silence as royal protocol dictated, William took to social media with a hastily recorded video that showed him visibly agitated, his typically polished appearance disheveled. "For years I've watched my brother be torn apart for speaking his truth," William said, his voice uncharacteristically strained. "I criticized him, both publicly and privately. I thought maintaining the institution was more important than anything else, but now that I'm the target of these violations and lies, I understand what drove him to break free." The video, clearly made without palace approval, was deleted within 30 minutes, but not before it had been viewed millions of times and captured by countless users who continued to circulate it. The composed, controlled Prince William, the world thought they knew, had vanished, replaced by a man on the verge of a very public breakdown. The Harry parallel. What made William's situation particularly remarkable was how closely it mirrored his brother's path. Like Harry, he was now facing intense media scrutiny about his private life. Like Harry, he was chafing against palace restrictions on how to respond. And like Harry, he was beginning to publicly question the system he'd been raised to uphold. Royal insiders reported that King Charles was deeply concerned about his elder son's behavior, particularly given how critical William had been when Harry followed a similar path. One former palace aide told The Times, "William was absolutely furious with Harry for going public with family matters. He considered it the ultimate betrayal of royal principles. Now he's doing exactly the same thing, which suggests whatever was revealed in that DNA test has truly shaken him to his core." Princess Catherine was notably absent during the initial days of the scandal, reportedly taking their 3 children to her parents' home in Bucklebury to shield them from the media frenzy. Her silence spoke volumes, as the normally supportive royal wife made no public show of standing by her husband. Most ironically, the only family member to publicly support William was Harry himself, who issued a brief statement from California. "No one understands better than I do the pressure of having your private life exploited for public consumption. Despite our differences, I stand with my brother and respect his right to respond to these intrusions as he sees fit." The DNA revelation. As William's public behavior grew increasingly erratic, skipping a scheduled appearance at a military ceremony, being photographed arguing with aides outside Kensington Palace, and reportedly refusing calls from his father. More details about the DNA findings emerged from multiple sources. The test had allegedly revealed that William carried genetic markers inconsistent with the known Windsor profile. Specifically, the analysis showed heritage that raised questions about the official narrative of his royal lineage. While the tabloids gleefully speculated about potential infidelity in Charles and Diana's marriage, genetics, Experts noted that such testing frequently reveals unexpected ancestry several generations back. What seemed to trigger William's most extreme reaction, however, wasn't just the content of the revelations, but the palace's response to them. According to sources close to the prince, senior royal advisors had prepared a strategy of blanket denials, controlled leaks to friendly media outlets, and a campaign to discredit the research facility, all without addressing the substance of the findings. It was exactly the same playbook they used against Harry and Meghan, one source told The Guardian. William suddenly found himself on the receiving end of the institution's protection machinery, and he didn't like what he saw. It was as if a veil had been lifted. The family division deepens. The aftermath of William's interview created the greatest crisis for the monarchy since Harry and Meghan's departure. King Charles, reportedly devastated by his son's public comments, retreated to Balmoral Castle in Scotland, cancelling several planned engagements. Palace sources described the king as being caught between his role as monarch and his love for his son, an echo of Queen Elizabeth's dilemma during Harry's exit. The royal family split into factions. Princess Anne and Prince Edward publicly supported the traditional palace approach of dignity and discretion, with Anne telling reporters, "Some conversations belong behind closed doors, regardless of circumstance." In contrast, several of the younger royals, including Princess Eugenie and Zara Tindall, were rumored to have privately expressed support for William's newfound outspokenness. Most notably, Harry reached out directly to his brother, with sources claiming the two spoke by video call for over 2 hours, their longest conversation in years. According to those familiar with the call, Harry offered advice on handling media pressure outside the palace system, and shared his own experiences with prioritizing personal truth over institutional expectations. Catherine finally returned to London a week after the interview, but observers noted a distinct coolness between the couple during their first public appearance together. Body language experts pointed to their physical distance, minimal eye contact, and Catherine's strained smile as evidence of serious marital tension resulting from William's unilateral decisions. The royal rebel. As days turned into weeks, William showed no signs of backing down or conforming to palace expectations. Instead, he seemed to be taking pages directly from Harry's playbook, embracing a new role as royal rebel with increasing confidence. He launched his own social media accounts independent of Kensington Palace's official channels, giving him direct access to the public without institutional filtering. His first post, "Time for some overdue truth-telling," gained over 1 million followers within hours. In a move that particularly alarmed traditional royalists, William began selectively engaging with comments about the monarchy's colonial past, acknowledging historical wrongs, and suggesting that full accountability was necessary for the institution to evolve. These comments echoed positions Harry and Meghan had taken years earlier, positions that had been privately dismissed by William at the time. Most shocking was William's announced partnership with Netflix for a documentary series examining the relationship between the British monarchy and the media, a project with uncomfortable parallels to Harry and Meghan's much-criticized Netflix deal. The working title, "Behind the Palace Walls," suggested a level of institutional critique that would have been unimaginable from William just months earlier. "It's as if he's deliberately retracing Harry's steps," one royal historian noted. "The same boundary breaking, the same media partnerships, the same willingness to question the monarchy publicly. The only difference is that William can't be exiled from the succession as easily as the spare." The family summit. With the monarchy facing its greatest crisis in generations, King Charles finally took decisive action. He summoned both William and Harry, the latter reluctantly agreeing to return to the UK for the first time in years, to a private family summit at Sandringham, reminiscent of the 2020 meeting that had formalized Harry's departure from royal duties. Unlike that earlier meeting, this summit included no courtiers, advisors, or other family members, just Charles and his 2 sons behind closed doors for nearly 6 hours. When they emerged, all 3 looked emotionally drained but, according to staff, somewhat reconciled. No formal statement followed the meeting, but dramatic changes soon became apparent. William returned to royal duties, though with a noticeably different approach, more outspoken, less bound by convention, and more willing to acknowledge problems within the institution. His Netflix project was reconfigured as a documentary about modernizing the monarchy, with the king's grudging approval. Most significantly, Harry announced plans for his first extended return to the UK since his departure, with a carefully negotiated agreement for limited royal duties focusing on charitable work. Sources close to both brothers suggested that William had insisted on Harry's partial return as a condition of his own continued cooperation with royal expectations. The new normal today, months after the DNA scandal that triggered this extraordinary chain of events, the British monarchy operates in a changed landscape. William has neither fully returned to his former compliant role, nor completely broken free in the manner of his brother. Instead, he has carved out a new position as an internal reformer, still committed to the monarchy's future, but determined to modernize it on his own terms. The palace has never officially acknowledged the specific DNA findings that sparked William's transformation. Most royal experts now believe the test revealed something about William's ancestry that contradicted official Windsor history. Not recent enough to affect his claim to the throne, but significant enough to make him question the institution's relationship with truth. William's relationship with Harry remains complex, but has undeniably improved. The brothers are not the inseparable team they once were, but they now speak regularly and have made several joint appearances focusing on their mother's charitable legacy. Observers note that William has adopted several of Harry's perspectives about royal duty and institutional reform, while Harry has shown new respect for William's commitment to preserving a modernized monarchy. The DNA test may have revealed unexpected information about William's genetic heritage, one royal commentator observed. But the real revelation was how quickly the perfect prince could transform into a royal rebel when the institution turned its machinery against him. In finding himself suddenly in Harry's shoes, William found a new understanding of his brother, and perhaps a new version of himself. For the British monarchy, long defined by tradition and continuity, the future now holds something far less predictable: an heir who has experienced his own version of royal rebellion. "76 years old, stoic as stone, King Charles III stood before the High Court of Justice. Then, the words hit him. 99.9% probability that Simon Charles Durante Day is your biological son." His knuckles whitened, his legs buckled. Within seconds, Britain's monarch collapsed to the courtroom floor. What would you do if you discovered your king had a secret firstborn he never knew existed? For 3 decades, Simon Durante Day had been dismissed as delusional, another pretender to the throne, another conspiracy theorist spinning tales of royal bloodlines from his home in Queensland. But on that February morning in 2025, the 56-year-old mechanic's persistence finally paid off in the most dramatic way imaginable. The anticipation had built for weeks leading to this moment. Media outlets camped outside the High Court, creating a carnival atmosphere that belied the gravity of the proceedings. Legal experts debated endlessly on television about the constitutional implications. Could DNA testing really force its way into the most private matters of the crown? The precedent, if established, would fundamentally alter the relationship between monarchy and judiciary. Behind palace walls, something unprecedented was unfolding. 3 independent laboratories, London, Geneva, New York, had conducted the most secure DNA testing in modern history. Chain of custody protocols designed for nuclear secrets. Video surveillance of every sample, every step. The king himself had submitted to testing at dawn, entering the London clinic through its service entrance to avoid the media circus. The process had been excruciating. Royal advisors fought the testing order through multiple appeals, citing sovereign immunity and constitutional precedent. But Justice Thompson had ruled that the public interest in establishing truth outweighed privacy concerns, especially given the potential implications for the line of succession. The weight of 1,000 years of monarchy tradition pressed against the emerging demands of modern transparency. Picture this: Justice Margaret Thompson opening the sealed envelope. The galleries packed with journalists, legal experts, and curious onlookers. Simon Durante Day sitting rigid, his wife Elviana clutching his hand. 7 grandchildren in the public gallery, their futures hanging on these words. The courtroom's ancient wooden benches creaked under the weight of history about to be rewritten. The judge's usually steady hands trembled slightly as she unfolded the documents. Years of legal training hadn't prepared her for announcing results that could potentially destabilize the monarchy. The silence in the courtroom became almost unbearable, broken only by the rhythmic ticking of the grandfather clock in the corner, each second stretching into eternity. Then, the bombshell drops. The DNA analysis confirmed with 99.9% certainty what Simon had claimed for decades. Independent verification from 3 separate laboratories left no room for doubt. The genetic markers aligned perfectly, painting an irrefutable picture of biological connection spanning 6 decades of separation. The color drained from Charles's face as each technical detail was read aloud. His royal composure, maintained through decades of scandals, crumbled in an instant. Witnesses later described his expression as one of profound disbelief, as if the fundamental laws of his universe had suddenly reversed. Can you imagine hearing that at 76? That your firstborn lived unknown for over half a century? The mathematical certainty of modern science colliding with assumptions held for a lifetime. Rewind to 1965. Camilla Shand, 18, vivacious debutante at a Sussex house party. Prince Charles, 17, attending during a break from Gordonstoun. One weekend. One encounter. One life-changing consequence that neither would know about. The social dynamics of 1960s. English aristocracy created the perfect conditions for such secrets to take root and flourish. The house party had been hosted by mutual friends of both families, a gathering where young royalty mingled with established nobility under the veneer of proper supervision. But summer romances among teenagers rarely respect boundaries of station or expectation. What happened between Charles and Camilla would remain their secret until DNA technology made secrets obsolete. 3 months later, Camilla made a quiet disappearance from London's social scene. 9 months after that, a baby boy entered the world at the Royal Hospital Haslar in Portsmouth. Within 18 months, he was adopted by the Durante Day family through what investigators would later discover was a carefully orchestrated private arrangement. The adoption papers themselves bore the hallmarks of high-level intervention. Sealed records, expedited processing, connections to powerful intermediaries who moved quietly through corridors of influence. The adopting family had connections to royal domestic service, a detail that would later fuel speculation about deliberate placement to maintain proximity while ensuring distance. But the real bombshell was yet to come. Crash. The sound of Britain's sovereign hitting the courtroom floor echoed through the chamber. Security rushed in. His Majesty's protection officers cleared a path as medical personnel hurried forward. Acute emotional shock, severe hypotension, temporary cardiac arrhythmia. The physical manifestation of psychological trauma played out in real time on international television. Court officers immediately called for emergency medical assistance while creating a privacy screen to shield the collapsed monarch from cameras. But the damage to royal dignity had already occurred, broadcast live to millions worldwide. The image of a king felled by truth became instant historical iconography. These questions raced through the nation's mind as the king was rushed to St. Mary's Hospital. Does his crown survive? Does his son become heir? Behind palace walls, emergency protocols kicked into gear. But there was no playbook for this. The convoy to the hospital moved through streets lined with shocked onlookers. Many had gathered expecting courtroom drama, but found themselves witnessing a royal health crisis unfold in real time. The sirens wailing through London's streets seemed to announce the end of one era and the uncertain beginning of another. Westminster exploded into debate. Could Simon Durante Day, born out of wedlock and raised in Australia, suddenly jump ahead of Prince William in succession? Legal experts on every news channel offered conflicting analyses: precedent versus progress, legitimacy versus love. The constitutional crisis that legal theorists had only imagined as academic exercise suddenly demanded urgent resolution. Members of Parliament gathered in emergency session, parsing precedents dating back to the Act of Settlement. The carefully balanced constitutional monarchy that had evolved over centuries faced its most fundamental challenge. Could illegitimacy still preclude succession in an age that celebrated genetic certainty? But the biggest shock was still hiding in plain sight. In a vault beneath the Palace of Westminster, archived documents suddenly took on new significance. Medical records, private correspondence, and there it was. Tissue samples from Princess Diana, retained for medical research purposes. When tested, they proved beyond doubt. Simon was not Diana's child. The implications hit like a second earthquake. Diana had married a man who unknowingly abandoned his firstborn 20 years earlier. Had she known? The question haunted everyone who remembered her carefully guarded secrets and public hints of knowledge she could never share. Royal biographers scrambled to re-examine Diana's interviews and private communications with fresh eyes. Her famous declaration that there were 3 in this marriage took on additional layers of meaning. Had she discovered Charles's secret and carried that burden through their troubled union? Imagine the scene. Senior advisors huddled in the blue drawing room. The private secretary fielding calls from heads of state. The Archbishop of Canterbury rushing to the king's bedside. The Queen Consort, notified mid-event, racing back to London. The coordinated response of centuries-old protocols confronting unprecedented modern reality. The palace machine, carefully calibrated for managing controlled narratives, ground to a near halt. Press officers trained in obfuscation and euphemism found themselves without adequate language to describe the seismic shift occurring beneath their feet. The usual arsenal of no comment and private matter proved woefully inadequate. Down under, vindication mixed with sympathy. Simon's hometown of Queensland transformed overnight into a media carnival. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese walked a diplomatic tightrope, acknowledging the DNA results while reaffirming commitment to the crown. The delicate balance between Republican sentiment and traditional loyalty created unique challenges for Australian leadership. Local residents found themselves thrust into the global spotlight, their quiet town becoming ground zero for one of the biggest royal revelations in modern history. Interview requests poured in from international media, seeking any detail about the man who had just proven himself the eldest son of a king. At St. Mary's Hospital, doctors treated more than physical symptoms. Acute adjustment disorder with depressive features gripped the monarch. His carefully constructed identity, dutiful son, devoted father, prepared heir, shattered by one test result. The psychological impact proved as severe as the physical collapse that brought him to emergency care. Medical staff observed the king cycling through stages of grief typically associated with profound loss. Denial emerged first, repeatedly questioning the accuracy of results. Anger followed, directed not at individuals, but at the cruel trick of fate that had kept him ignorant for decades. The king's first official act upon recovery, a handwritten letter to Simon Durante Day. Palace couriers delivered it personally to Queensland. Contents remained private, but sources hinted at apology, invitation, and careful hope for connection. The letter, written in Charles's distinctive script, reportedly occupied the king for hours as he struggled to find words adequate to the circumstance. Royal watchers noted the significance of handwritten correspondence in an age of digital communication. The personal touch suggested a depth of emotion and sincerity that official statements couldn't convey. Palace sources leaked that multiple drafts were attempted and discarded before final delivery. The princes faced their own reckoning. William, heir apparent, suddenly had a half-uncle older than himself. Harry, already the spare, now shared that status with Simon's 7 children. The dynamics of succession and family relationships shifted like tectonic plates, requiring psychological adjustment from all parties. Private family meetings convened to process the revelation's implications. The brothers, who had publicly supported each other through various scandals, found themselves navigating uniquely personal territory. Their relationship with their father took on new dimensions as they processed his unwitting abandonment of a child decades before their own births. As investigators dug deeper, the full story emerged. A weekend house party in Sussex. Young Charles and Camilla, barely adults themselves. Private adoption arrangements through powerful intermediaries. Sealed records. Cover-ups spanning decades. The architecture of royal discretion revealed its darker implications when examined through the lens of personal consequence. Court documents unveiled the intricate web of connections that facilitated Simon's adoption. Trusted family solicitors. Government officials with royal ties. medical professionals bound by confidentiality agreements. The system designed to protect young royalty from scandal had inadvertently created a family tragedy spanning generations. Financial advisors grappled with unprecedented questions of inheritance and support. While Simon's illegitimacy theoretically excluded him from succession rights, moral and ethical considerations demanded careful navigation. The monarchy's vast wealth carried implicit obligations to acknowledge and support all confirmed biological children. Proposals emerged for comprehensive support packages that would provide for Simon's family without creating constitutional complications. Trust funds, property settlements, and ongoing allowances were discussed behind closed doors, as financial experts worked to establish precedents for modern royal acknowledgement. How do you greet your 56-year-old son for the first time? Royal protocol officers worked overtime developing frameworks for potential meetings, forms of address, seating arrangements, public versus private interactions. The uncharted territory required delicate balance between personal emotion and institutional dignity. From Canada to New Zealand, Commonwealth leaders walked diplomatic tightropes. The revelation tested the bonds that held the alliance together. Some nations saw destabilization, others, opportunity for modernization. Republican movements in various Commonwealth countries seized upon the news as evidence of monarchy's fundamental unsuitability for modern governance. Australian Republican groups particularly capitalized on the moment, noting the irony of their citizen-proving royal lineage while their nation debated cutting ties with the crown. The narrative shifted from abstract constitutional debates to personal stories of hidden history and family connection. Deep in Windsor Castle's archives, historians uncovered correspondence from 1966, letters between palace staff managing delicate situations, coded references to the Portsmouth problem, evidence of a carefully orchestrated cover-up spanning multiple administrations. The documents revealed protocols for handling royal indiscretions that seemed antiquated by modern standards but had shaped individual lives profoundly. Months passed. King Charles gradually returned to public duties, bearing visible scars from both physical collapse and emotional trauma. His speeches carried new weight, touching on themes of lost family, second chances, redemption. Royal observers noted subtle changes in his demeanor, a softening of previously formal interactions, increased emphasis on family values in public addresses. The king's charity work evolved to include causes related to adoption, family reunification, and genetic counseling. Critics suggested opportunistic image management. Supporters saw genuine personal growth emerging from painful revelation. When father and son finally met, in a private room at Clarence House, away from cameras and ceremony, witnesses described it as impossibly tender and heartbreakingly awkward. Decades of separation couldn't be bridged in an afternoon, but a foundation was laid for healing spanning generations. The conversation reportedly included hours of storytelling, as Simon shared his life experiences, while Charles struggled to process decades of missed milestones, graduations, marriages, births of grandchildren he never knew existed. Photo albums were exchanged, creating a visual timeline bridging the gulf of separation. A year after the collapse, Britain adjusted to its new royal reality. Simon Durante, while not in direct succession, became a regular visitor to the UK. His children met their royal cousins. Awkward family dynamics slowly transformed into something resembling normalcy. Holiday gatherings at Sandringham now included Australian accents among the received pronunciation. Parliament eventually reached consensus. Simon's illegitimacy and foreign citizenship preserved the existing succession order, but recognition came with titles, financial support, and family inclusion. A modern solution to an ancient dilemma, carefully crafted to satisfy constitutional requirements while acknowledging moral imperatives. The Archbishop of Canterbury provided both private counsel and public sermons about forgiveness, family, and divine purpose in unexpected revelations. Church of England grappled with supporting a monarch through deeply personal crisis while maintaining institutional neutrality. The story that began as sensational scandal evolved into something more nuanced. Media coverage shifted from shock headlines to thoughtful reflection on family, secrets, and modern monarchy's role. Documentaries explored the human cost of royal discretion, while supporters emphasized the institution's capacity for growth and adaptation. Simon's vindication inspired others with royal paternity claims to pursue testing. The floodgates opened as genetic testing companies reported surges in ancestry inquiries. The monarchy faced an unprecedented wave of potential revelations, though subsequent claims proved far less substantiated than Simon's ironclad genetic evidence. The dust settles, but questions remain. Could a family divided by decades of secrets ever truly heal? Has the monarchy emerged stronger or forever changed? Will future generations see this as scandal survived or transformation embraced? The answers unfold gradually as Charles and Simon build their relationship one careful step at a time. Perhaps the answer lies not in constitutional debates or public opinion polls, but in quiet moments between father and son, making up for lost time. In the end, the story of King Charles and Simon Durante became not about crowns or courts, but about the universal truth that family bonds, once discovered, demand acknowledgement. The world watches as they write the next chapter, not of a scandal, but of reunion. Not of secrets exposed, but of relationships built. The bombshell that shattered the crown might yet forge something stronger. A monarchy capable of embracing its imperfections and emerging more human, more relevant, more real.